I should always try to see the higher purpose in whatever I do. Not just, what I see or what I can feel. And with that, over the years, I navigated through many work or jobs, and more I got involved in the social projects to help the poor, to protect the environment, thinking that, doing something good for the society, for other people, would be will give me happiness. And that is my bottom line for happiness. However, that didn't give me the complete satisfaction. Something was missing. And that answer didn't come for a long time, but before I say it, or I will share the answer through the story from the Bible. You might know this. This is a famous story from the Bible, the story of Martha and Mary. Okay, they are sisters. They are disciples of Jesus. One day, Jesus and his disciples, a group of them, visits their house. So Martha starts preparing food for them. They have to feed the guest with the feast. And Mary, on the other hand, is sitting at the feet of Jesus, just absorbed in his vibrations. Some time passed, and finally Martha comes to Jesus. Jesus, you have to help me. You have to tell my sister Mary that she has to help me. I am just cooking all by myself, and there are so many things to do. However, Jesus didn't agree with Martha, and instead rebuked her. He said, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things. But one thing is needful, and Mary has chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her. Just one thing needful, or the good part that Jesus said that Mary has chosen. What is it? It is not simply about meditating or being physically in the presence of the Guru. What he was trying to say was, and it's not about whether seva is, which is better, doing seva or meditating with the Guru. He was talking about the attitude which you do seva. He was basically telling Martha that you're letting your work affect your inner peace. If she had kept the awareness of the presence of God and kept her attuning to her Guru while she does all this work and cooking, then she wouldn't have felt so restless and worried and frustrated. And Jesus wouldn't have said that, no to her request. I suppose many of you have watched the movie about Ananda, Finding Happiness. Yes, majority, I hope. So this is a movie, in case you haven't watched. It's a movie about Ananda village in California. It's a spiritual community. People are living there. Started about 55 years ago. And it shows how the life is, with what principles people live in, and how they apply spiritual teaching in their lives. And toward the end, there's a conversation between a journalist and Swami Kriyananda, the founder of Ananda, who left his body already, but when the movie was made, he was still alive. And so the journalist asks, can a community exist without the idea of God? And Swami Kriyananda responds, I don't know, but I suppose it can. But, then he says, this idea of God certainly helps a lot. Everything needs to be tied to a knot, and God ties that knot. And I thought this is also true for us, our inner world. We have many community members within us, the citizens that Master calls, because we have many roles in life, different aspects of life, responsibilities and roles to play at home or with your relatives, and then work, your friends. But all these have to be tied to a knot for us to live peacefully and harmoniously with ourselves. And that God ties that knot. So if, like Martha or like me in some years ago, if you don't keep the presence of God in your awareness, in your activity, then whatever you do, however hard you do, or whatever great work you do, for not just for yourself, but for others, for society, still, it is the ego who is in your driver's seat. And the ego claims, I'm doing it. And this I creates restlessness, creates fear and worry, and I have to make it happen. I have to handle this situation. I have to do it well. I have to please others. All these thoughts come. But when we live with the awareness of God's presence, then we know that God is everywhere, in everyone. God is the doer, and all the fruit of action, of our action, actually belongs to Him only to Him. And then we are able to feel or have that inner peace, because we live. When we are aware of the presence of God, we become also aware of who we really are, our soul nature. And that is peace, that is joy, just like God is. Then the desires, responsibilities, attachments, all these things fade away. The importance fade away. A disciple of Paramhansa Yogananda in his ashram, he was once engaged in the construction work. And then one day he complained, I didn't come here to pour cement. Pouring cement, washing dishes, or teaching classes, or, yesterday many of us were washing the chairs, actually. But all these, what you do really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in terms of how soon you find God, or how soon you find inner peace. Because no work for God is more important or less important. See, God has everything already. God is everything. He doesn't need, he's not particularly pleased by, someone giving prasad over someone washing the dishes. It's all the same for God. But what he wants, Yoganandaji says, is our love. That's the only thing he wants from us. A few weeks ago, some of us went to Kasoli there was a retreat for Kriya Buns. I mean, those who are already initiated in Kriya Yoga. We spent 4 days, and every day we walked into the forest because that was just nearby, and it's so refreshing. You know, going from Delhi, it's so refreshing to spend time in nature. And many of us, we are scattered within the forest, sitting down on the ground. And in fact, many of us noticed, later we were discussing, and noticed that there are so many tiny, tiny flowers and berries. So tiny. It's like a rice grain. And yet, they are complete in itself. It's bright color or beautiful color, and because they are so small, they're half buried under pine needles that was fallen from the tree. But then looking at them, you realize that they are just and they and us also, they are just doing what they are supposed to do. Wherever they are, they don't complain, oh, I didn't want to be there. I mean, I wanted to be there or here. Doesn't matter. They just do what they're supposed to do to the best of their ability. And they just follow the ray of the sunlight. That's us. We just have to follow the ray of the divine light, wherever we are. We want to purify our hearts, fill our hearts with the thought of God and Guru. And Swami Kriyananda says, we want to do that to reach to the point where all our love, all our energy flows naturally toward God. So then, when that happens, making inner peace, bottom line, this will come naturally to us. Thank you.
As Chika said, we are all made in the image of God. And we are supposed to feel that peace naturally. But what obstructs that peace is the question. Because we don't stay in the present moment. The peace is available within us. All we need to turn is inward. But there are thieves within us. There are some attitude thieves which steals the peace from us. The first and foremost thing is not living in the present, because we either live in the past or we live in the future. But life happens right now, right here, isn't it? And many stories are there to illustrate these two aspects which we unconsciously practice every day. One is about two monks walking in a forest and crossing a river. So when two monks were trying to cross a flooded river, they find a beautiful girl, a young lady there, and she wanted to cross the river. And one monk offered help to that girl to help her to cross the river, and the other monk objected. The monk said, "No, brother, we are not supposed to help her, we cannot touch her, that is against our rules." But then the other monk who intended to help said, that's fine, we need to help people in need. So the monk carried her, the young lady, on his shoulder, crossed the river, dropped her, thanked her for giving him an opportunity to help, and then they continued to walk. And after 4-5 kilometers, the other monk who objected would say that, "You shouldn't have done that." And the first monk who helped says, "I dropped her 5 kilometers ago. You're the one who's carrying her with you." And that's what we always do. Any experience which we have, especially the challenging ones, we always carry it with us. The day would be over, the challenge would be over, the misgivings would be over, but we carry it with us. And we destroy today's peace with that memory. Paramhansa Yogananda says that worry is misuse of your memory power. And the other thing which we do is to live in the future. We are worried, we are anxious. What will happen? What will not happen? Will things be favorable to us? Will our surrounding in office or at home? It never happens the way we want it to happen, and we are always anxious about that. And Paramhansa Yogananda says that worrying about the future or fearing the future is misusing your imagination. The key is to live in the present. But how can we do that? Even if we practice to live in the present, there are hundreds of challenges around us this moment, and we can go on complaining about it endlessly. And as we all know, meditation is the only practice we know that will help us to be in present and to stay in tune to that inner peace. Because what do we do in meditation? We focus on the breath. What will the mind do? Run to the future. And we bring it back to the breath. And then it will run into the past. We bring it back to the breath. By training our mind, by practicing concentration with every breath when we meditate, we develop that ability to hold our attention, the needle of our attention, in a place where we want it to be. And thereby we can tune into peace and stay peaceful, irrespective of what happened or what will happen or what is happening. Nayaswami Jyotish, the spiritual director of Ananda Sangha, shared about an experiment in some university in US, and the experiment was very simple. They called on people who are meditating for many years, and they put them one by one in a room, and they did this experiment. Nothing scientific or technical, just a simple experiment. They asked the person to meditate. 5 to 10 minutes after meditation, somebody crawls quietly behind the meditator and bursts a balloon. And what will happen is, of course, we'll get shocked. We'll, jerk and we'll wake up. And they attach how our body is responding to this stimuli, how our heartbeat is, how our reactions are, and everything. Meditator or not a meditator, everybody who, when they heard the sound, they jumped up. There was a little fear, or there was a spike in their heartbeat, a spike in their reaction. But those who meditated were able to return to that peaceful state sooner than those people who were not meditating, because they have practiced the art of bringing their attention to where they want it to be. And that's how meditation helps. By meditating, we can stay in that peace which has to be the bottom line. And why it has to be the bottom line? Why is peace so important? Have you taken a walk around our garden? Yes? So what's the first sign you see? Is the first quote in the garden is from Bhagavad Gita. It says, for that person to whom peace is not, how is happiness possible for somebody who doesn't know what peace is? We all strive for joy, we want to be happy, but then the foundation for happiness and joy is peacefulness. And Paramhansa Yogananda says that, having all the material possessions and not having peace is like dying of thirst when somebody is bathing in a lake. So peace, the bottom line, is the fundamental, or is the foundation for all the superconscious experiences and joy, or every single aspect which a human being aspires for. Now, peace is not a passive state. We need to very really we need to understand that clearly. A small kid in his teens was in a winter afternoon, stretched out on his reclining chair in his balcony, sunlight falling him, was very peacefully taking rest. And his mother came and said to him, that to the kid, why don't you study a little? You need to get good marks. Please make some effort. And the kid, with his hands behind his head, crossed his leg and asked his mom, why should I study, Mom? So that you get good marks. You know how moms reply, na? So she's getting irritated. And why should I get marks? So that you get a good college. Why should I get a good college? So that you get a good job. And why should I get a good job? So that you will earn well. Why should I earn well, Mom? So that you can have enough money so that you can be at peace. And he said, I'm already at peace. Now that's not the peace we are talking about. Peace is that, we are talking about something which is actively calm. How to be actively calm. The activeness is called, it's meditatively calm. A peace not born because of the absence of outer problems, a peace which you are feeling not because there are no challenges and everything in your life is going smooth, a peace which is born out of meditation despite all the problems around you. That inner peace should be our bottom line. And Swami Sri Yukteswar was very, very strict about it. He even trained Paramhansa Yogananda to be actively calm. He did that. He did not accept any excuse for a mind to be ruffled, for his mind to be ruffled. So, as you know, Swami Sri Yukteswar was in Sri Rampur and Paramhansa Yogananda's college, and he lived at his home in Kolkata. It was probably a half an hour to 1 hour ride in train. So whenever he goes to meet his guru and evening when he has to return to his home, the last train, Paramhansa Yogananda will slightly start to become restless. He will say, oh, the train is in 10 minutes, now I need to go. And Swami Sri Yukteswar also knows the train is in 10 minutes, but he will not let him go. He will hold on to him. He will say, sit down. Stay calm. And this happened. And initially, Yogananda thought that this is unreasonable. What he is doing to me is unreasonable. But when he tuned into his guru, he understood the value in this lesson. He understood that no matter what the outer circumstances are, one has to learn to be at peace within themselves. So Yukteswarji made Yogananda miss several trains till he learned this lesson. He said, why the mental restlessness and mental frenzy? Stay calm. When the time is right, get up and leave. Why does your mental activity start racing 10, 15 minutes ago? Train will come, I will have to leave, we'll have to start. Now that steals the peace within you. Like a clear lake, a still lake can reflect moon very clearly. But once there is a stone thrown inside, it will not reflect the moon clearly. We pray to God for guidance, we pray to God for joy, for abundance, and He is ready to give, but we are not able to receive it because we are not at peace. So unless the peace is the bottom line of our life, we will not be able to receive the gifts we are getting. Now, peace should be like that thread which holds all the flowers in place. You might be doing a lot of activities, but behind that activity, just like a thread holding that flower in place, there should be an underlying peace. Flowers are beautiful, just like activities, useful activities are, but if they are scattered, they are not beautiful. Now we cannot also offer only a thread to the a photo of our gurus. Deepika would not let that happen. So just being at peace is not, being at peace because there are no activities is not our aim, and lot of activity is also not our aim. To do the activity through active calmness, through that peace, is our aim. And I'll leave you with a quote given by Paramhansa Yogananda: when you lose your wealth, you lose nothing. When you lose your health, you lose something. But if you lose your inner peace, you lose everything. Thank you.